Hi YouTube, it's Lauren. Um, I have been through a crazy, really crazy month, and I just wanted to kind of discuss the final kind of what happened to me. So, um, basically, my husband and I have been trying to conceive a child since around August of 2018, so not super long. Um, so we didn't, have any issues with like fertility that we knew of. I never had irregular periods or irregular pap smears or any other issues. There are some fertility issues that run in my family, but nothing super serious to where I would think that anything's wrong. So I really didn't think anything was wrong. Also, I'm just going to apologize for my overall appearance because it's been like a heck of a week. So deal with it. Okay, so to start, trying to make this short and sweet, but just kind of go over everything. So, um, we were getting real. Well, more me, but I was getting really frustrated because we had been trying to conceive. I had been off the pill since July of 2018, and we had decided we wanted to start a family. And my husband was on board with this, and we were really trying. I was tracking my ovulation with OPKs. There was never a month since August that I hadn't ovulated according to my strips. And I was having normal periods, usually every 27 to 28 days, none out of the ordinary at all. And so we were thinking like we're good to go, you know. So we started trying in August, like I said. We had a couple of weird things go on here and there. I think just kind of fluky things. Like I got a UTI 1 month and it caused me to have a lot of cramping, which made me think I was pregnant. And excuse me, it turns out I wasn't pregnant. It was just a lot of weird symptoms that kind of felt like pregnancy symptoms. Um, okay, so then roll around to December. So December 11th, that was when my period was due. And my period started like normal. Started off, and I'm sorry if this is TMI, don't watch if you don't want to hear anything about child, trying to conceive a child or periods or mucus or anything like that, because that's what this video is going to be about. So, on December 11th, I started like I normally do. I had a little bit of like spotting to start off, dark brown, kind of got lighter first, and then went to red like later on the day. My cramping wasn't super severe. It wasn't anything unusual. And I had a period for 4 days. Usually my periods are 4 to 5 days and then they're over. They're not super heavy. They're not super painful. I usually wear a tampon maybe 1 or 2 of the days. The rest of the time I can get away with just wearing a pad or a panty liner and I'm good. So I'm actually pretty lucky. I don't really have a lot of issues when it comes to my menstrual cycle. So my period came like normal. Over the next week after my period, I started to feel really strange. Like my boobs were getting sore after my period, and I knew I wasn't going to be ovulating anytime soon. I was getting hot flashes. I had a really weird taste in my mouth. I felt really tired. So I had some leftover pregnancy tests, so I took one on the 19th of December, which was very short time after my period actually started, which, like I said, was the 11th. So it was literally like a week later. I took a test and I saw a faint line. And I was like, what the heck, you know? So I thought maybe something weird happened because I dipped an OPK at the same time as I dipped the pregnancy test, like in the same urine. So I was like, some chemical reaction must have happened and it made it positive. So I just disregarded that whole test. It was very light anyway. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take one in the morning. At my first morning, urine and see what happens. Took one in the morning and it was positive as well. Still super faint, like barely there. But I could see it. I took another brand. Same thing, positive, but barely there. So took a digital because I had a digital one, the one that says yes. Took it. It said yes with a plus. So I'm like, okay, 3 different brands, 3 different tests. They're all positive. I'm definitely pregnant. So next day, went to go get my blood work done. I was ecstatic, but I was very confused because of the bleeding that had happened the week before and how light my tests were. and that there was no way I could have ovulated from my December 11th period until the time I got a positive test. And I know I wasn't pregnant before that bleeding started because I took a test on December 10th, the day before my period actually started, and it was stark white negative. So absolutely no way that I could have been pregnant before the bleeding started, okay? So in my mind, I'm thinking implantation bleeding, kind of strange, very late, very heavy for implantation bleeding, red blood, like not like spotting. So I was thinking, I'm a little skeptical about all of this. All right. So then I went to the doctor and they were like, so you missed your period? And I'm like, not exactly. You know, I had a period, what I thought was a period. So everyone just thought I was crazy. They're like, well, let's just take a blood test and see what happens. So they take my blood test and they get the results and it's just a 20. My beta HCG is a 20. That's very low. They said you're super, super early. Like you literally just caught it at like the earliest time that you could catch it. And I'm like, wow, okay. Well, this was all happening the weekend of Christmas, of course. So they were closed on Monday and Tuesday for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But they had a lab that opened in the morning on Christmas Eve. So I went on Christmas Eve morning and I got my blood retaken to make sure it was doubling within the time frame. And I got it back and it went up to 40. So it did double. So that was good. But I still had a funny feeling just because of the timing of everything. So I was like, I'm not going to get super excited. But we did end up letting our parents know just because, you know, it was positive. I wanted them to know what was going on. No one else, just like our parents. And I was just going to keep everything else on the DL until we got more, you know, information. So next week rolls around. Oh, so Christmas Day, I had a little bit of cramping, and then that night I had a little bit of brown spotting, and I was like, okay, interesting. Next morning, woke up, didn't have any spotting throughout the night, but the next morning woke up again, still spotting a little bit, okay? So I had to go to work, still having a little bit of cramping, thought maybe this is normal, not really sure, was a little worried. Got my blood results from a third beta draw. Beta only went up to 45 from 40. So basically it was plateauing right there. That was the start of all the like, okay, something's wrong. So after that, we had another blood draw done 2 days later, and the level went down to 29. So it was going down. So it was like, all right, I was upset, but I said, you know what? It's not going to work. This isn't normal. Excuse me. Levels are not supposed to go up and then down, and started doing a little bit of research about ectopic pregnancies, miscarriages, and kind of how the blood levels usually go with those. So I was like, okay. So they were like, well, we think we know what's happening, but we're going to follow your HCG betas down to 0 to make sure that everything gets out of your system on its own naturally. So I was like, okay. So I got poked about 1,600 times, but throughout this whole time, but basically I had another blood test a week later and it went from 29 to 26. So it only lowered by 3. So it's really strange. It's just kind of hanging out there, not really sure what it's doing, but not normal, of course. So they're like, okay, it's just going down really slow. We're still going to watch it. So once a week, you're going to get your blood drawn. So wait another week, go back in. It went back up to 90. Go back in 2 days later, it went up to 136. So up again, but not doubling. So not a new pregnancy, still remnants of the old pregnancy hormones. Got another blood draw 2 days later, went from 136 to 149, still going up, not doubling. Another blood draw the next day, which was the 15th of January, and it was at 160. So it went from 149 to 160. So that was the highest it's ever been. In this time period, I was taking pregnancy tests at home to see the line getting lighter, and it started to get darker. And that's when I started to really worry. So I knew something was wrong. At this point, I had accepted that I wasn't going to get a healthy baby out from this outcome, but I was really concerned about my reproductive system and my health and everything, and I just was like, what is going on? So at my OBGYN appointment, she sent me directly to the ER and said, I really believe this is an ectopic pregnancy and I need you to get to the ER. I wasn't having any severe cramping. Like it was very like on and off, and it wasn't severe. I would just get random like kind of pinchy, stabby pains for just a second, and then it would go away. So I really didn't suspect that it was ectopic with my symptoms, besides the fact that my blood was acting so funny. That's the one red flag that was like, okay, it definitely could be ectopic. So I get to the ER. I was admitted. They did some blood work. They had to check my kidney and liver function and liver enzymes to make sure, because the medication that they give you for ectopic pregnancies is called methotrexate. It was used as a chemotherapy drug back in the day, and it's basically used to stop the production of cells that your body should be producing. So basically, they were trying to find out in the ER where this ectopic was located, if they could find it. And they did an ultrasound vaginally and a regular ultrasound. Nothing was shown on the regular one, but on the intravaginal ultrasound, they did find that I had an ovarian ectopic pregnancy in my right ovary. So the fetus or embryo, whatever stage it's at, was implanted into my right ovary, very close to my fallopian tube, like right at the edge, but it was implanted in my ovary. So she said that's probably why I wasn't having a ton of pain, because the ovary actually can sustain a pregnancy more so than a fallopian tube, because it can stretch a little bit more than a fallopian tube, but still isn't considered viable, cannot be saved type of thing. So I was monitored for a long time. My blood work came back. That's the day it came back at 160. And they said, it's still going up. Your liver enzymes are good. Your kidney function's good. Doctors said that they see a ovarian ectopic pregnancy in the right side. So we're going to go ahead with the methotrexate. So I was given 2 shots of methotrexate, 1 in each butt cheek. And they gave those to me based on my height and weight. So they never told me how many milligrams or grams or whatever it was that they injected into my butt cheeks. But they did that at the hospital, and due to the chance of allergic reaction or side effects from this medication, they required me to stay for an hour of observation after the injections were given to me. So I was there till about 7:30 at night. I had no issues that night with the injections. It was just over the next few days that I felt really crappy. I had nausea, I had a lot of migraine headaches, fatigue, I had some diarrhea. And then on the 17th, which was 2 days post methotrexate injection, I was getting a little bit of spotting, a mucousy, bloody discharge kind of thing, but still haven't started my full-blown period. And I decided to take a test today. I got blood work this morning, but still don't know the results of it. Hopefully it's going down. But I did take a test for the dollar store cheapie today, and it's still coming up pretty dark positive from this morning. So I'm really hoping I don't have to get another methotrexate injection. I've already took the whole week off work because the chance of rupturing, my ovary if I overexert myself. I have a very physical job, so I really can't be on my feet. I have patients, I lift patients, I lift weights with patients, I do exercises with patients. So I really can't be overexerting myself. So basically, I just wanted to share this experience. This was a really rare occurrence to have an ovarian pregnancy. I had none of the risk factors for this. I had never had an IUD. I don't have any infertility issues. I don't have endometriosis. I don't have PCOS. I don't have, as far as I know, I don't have abnormally structured fallopian tubes or anything wrong with my eggs or my follicles or anything like that. I'm only 26 years old, and this was my first pregnancy. I've never had a history of ectopics before, and I've never had a miscarriage before. So I was kind of like the really rare patient, I guess, that this happened to, unfortunately. But I'm really glad that it all kind of happened so quickly, and I'm glad I didn't get to my 8-week OB appointment and then find out that I'm about to have a ruptured ovary or a ruptured fallopian tube. So I'm really, really crossing my fingers and praying that I don't have to get another methotrexate injection, and that I'm going to start my period soon, and that I'm going to get everything out. My doctor did tell me I'm not allowed to try to conceive for 3 months post-injection, because this injection really depletes your folic acid levels, and they want you to, get back on your prenatal vitamins and everything, get your body back into, good health before you start trying again. So as soon as I'm allowed to, I'm going to start trying again. I'm not going to let this scare me from trying again. I'm only 26. I'm hoping this is our one weird fluky thing, but ectopic pregnancies are 17 times more likely to happen again after you have one. So we're just going to keep our fingers and toes crossed. We're going to pray to God and hope that this is going to work the next time. And we're just going to do everything we can. And I'm going to try to take a more relaxed approach with trying to conceive. At least we know that we have eggs and sperm that are viable, that can create a fetus or an embryo or whatever stage this child was at, and that we can hopefully get it right the next time. So if you have any questions about this situation, I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions. I do have a list of all my beta blood draws if you missed those, if you want a kind of a list of what happened, but it's been over a month now that I've been going through this, and my HCG is still not all the way to 0. So that's going to take some time, I think. I'm just hoping it's not going up. So, but if you have any questions, feel free to write me a comment below or send me a message, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys might have. And just hoping for the best, and I'll update you guys on our journey once we're able to start trying to conceive again. So everyone have a lovely snowy January weekend, and be safe on the roads if you're anywhere near Michigan, because it's really crappy outside. It's like literally a winter wonderland out there. You can't even see. It's so bright. So, but thanks for watching the video. Hopefully it could help someone figure out what's going on with them and answer a few questions you might have had. Have a good day, guys.